Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy right here, man. MMA Reloaded. We are live and direct for another edition of On the Mic, where we sit down with the hottest prospects, the hottest rising stars, anticipating to events upcoming on the scene right now. So, folks, from our past couple of shows, if you've seen with the likes of, if you're a UK fan, likes of Danny Missing, Coleman Murray, and now, folks, Barbarian Ben Fahey will join me here today on this show. Ben Fahey, folks, another addition, another anticipated name to watch on the December 4th card at Cage Steel 27. He competes against another very hot prospect in Jack Lister, in Ewan Lister, sorry, for for the Cage Steel Amateur Bantamweight Championship, previously held by some of the biggest names in UK MMA. So, folks, if you want a ticket to seal your space at Cage Steel 27, all you have to do is click the link in our Instagram biography at _MMA Reloaded. So, folks, all you gotta do is do that. Click the link in the bio. If you want any merchandise at MMA Reloaded, view the shop on Insta where we have our collection of shirts available, or go on the website at mmareloaded.co.uk to view the whole collection. So, folks, we are just gonna do the particulars right now for Barbarian Ben Fahey, and in the meantime, while after that, we'll take the show and we'll kick it off, okay, folks? So stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Of course, you know how we do business. We have to do the particulars before, to get the fighter on the show. Today, folks, is Barbarian Ben Fahey, one of the two men who compete for the Cage Steel Amateur Bantamweight Championship. Cage Steel, along with Almighty FC, are two of the most premier UK regional promotions for rising stars on their step up to Cage Warriors and things like that. So folks, it's a pleasure to have Ben on there. If you haven't seen him fight, folks, it's worth the watch. Trust me, the guy's a complete beast. Very experienced, coming into his 14th pro fight now. On December 4th. Folks, from what I've seen we've seen two retirements in the past week. So we've seen boxing veteran Showtime Sean Porter retire last night after his loss to T-Bar Terence Crawford. Then we saw Al Iaquinta announce what looked to be a retirement post. You know, only a fighter knows really when to call it. Yeah, because you have a really split mind after you come off back-to-back losses and you're at a certain age. But at the end of the day, you think about successes that you've had in the sport, and you think about, can your body really keep up to those past successes that you've had to create new ones? To me, and to be real honest, this is combat sports. Whether you're in karate combat, glory kickboxing, MMA, the UFC, Bellator, PFL, one doesn't matter. Or if you're a boxer, you think the same way. There's always a stretch, to these types of things, folks. And when you see things like Henry Cejudo retiring at 33, and I think maybe he did that for a publicity stunt. Or you think of the guys who actually mean to retire, who actually mean it. I think of a guy like blue collar guys, like Mitch Clark. If you don't remember Mitch, he was a veteran MMA, had his last fight in the UFC. He got the win, and Joe Rogan interviewed him. You see guys like that, man, and you see guys who genuinely have worked hard in their combat sport, in their respective sports, to really earn the right to retire, if you know what I mean. Guys like Daniel Cormier, earned the right to retire. A guy like Cain Velasquez earned the right to retire. Randy Couture. I think there are guys right now who I think should retire, but we haven't really heard official announcements from a guy like Forrest Griffin. Definitely earned it. Anderson Silva made a very smart move going to boxing, because if you look at some of the guys, and no matter how old they are, guys like Dan Henderson as well included, is that they still have fight left. They still have the desire to go and fight, and you sort of see the fact that if at 40 odd years old, of course 40, no age is old, but of course, if you're a fighter and you're competing in something physically demanding, it's gonna take a toll out on you. And it doesn't matter, bro, how old you are. Even in your 30s to 40s, the miles pile up, fight after fight, punishment after punishment. You keep taking punches, shit is gonna happen to you, fam. There's gonna be concussions, brain injuries. You got, you're gonna start falling into a depressive state if you keep losing, and you're gonna end up retiring from fighting early. But this is where I respect a guy like James Krause, who he's not on a losing streak or nothing, but he's the type of guy who really does, who really shows that there is a plan B. There is a plan B. If you think you're too old to fight anymore, or you can't go for it anymore, there is always a plan B. James Krause showed this plan B when he became the head coach at Glory Fight and Fitness. And he basically said that, now he's coaching some of the best fighters in the world. And he basically said, what, I'm still in the UFC, I'm still fighting, still one of the toughest guys out there. But I know there's more to life after fight. I know I can still stay in the fight business, but I can do it from the gym and in the corner. I have to lace up gloves. So for me, that's always, James Carras always has my respect with that stuff. Um, he's had my respect for a long time. One of the hardest workers in the business. And then you see um a lot of guys now like Chael Sonnen, Vanderlei Silva, Rampage Jackson, Shannon Briggs in boxing, Frank Mir, uh, loads of guys trying to hold on to past glory. And then the more they get exposed for actually being old and not being able to compete anymore with the way they used to, it sort of tarnishes their legacy a lot. And then it's one of those things where you can't really put a put a finger on. You can always say to someone, yo, look, age is just a number, but in the matter of fact, in reality, it's not just a number. Age is your health, age is your how your body's feeling, how your mind's feeling, how you're feeling here, how you're feeling here. Do you still have the heart to compete? That's what it is. And don't get me wrong, man. I respect anyone, any legend that comes back and thinks they still have it. It shows it. Uh, let me, folks. We're gonna get Ben Fahey on the show right now. I hope you enjoyed the little rant, man. I enjoyed delivering it, folks. It came straight from the heart. Believe that. Folks, Ben Fahey is about to join the show right now. Let's get on. Hey Ben.
Yes, brother. How's it going, mate? Good.
Yeah, how you going, mate? You alright?
Yeah, spot on, man. Spot on, mate. Feeling good.
Yeah, I'm glad, man. You look good, bro.
Thank you.
So of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is Barbarian Ben Fahey, coming in December the 4th in less than 2 weeks. He'll be competing for the Amateur Cage Steel Bantamweight Championship. Ben, I saw you at K Steel 26, man, live and direct. I have to say, the toughness, the back and forth. It was an amazing fight with Eddie Clark. Man, congratulations on the win. Now 3 wins on the trot. How are you feeling right now in your career, man? And how are you feeling going into December the 4th, fighting for the belt?
I feel good, mate. I feel good. To be honest, I feel the best like I have felt in ages with my MMA game. Obviously, coming off like 3 wins is going to be a big confidence boost for you, isn't it, going into anything? So, but yeah, like I've been working hard with my wrestling and my grappling. I feel like my striking's always been at like a pretty decent level anyway. So, especially for like amateur MMA. So yeah, man, I feel good, mate. I can't wait. I just want to get it done with now. Just like the last couple of weeks, and I've been training hard for a long time, so I'm ready just to do it.
Definitely, man. Have you been with you, mate? Do you have a set time for training camp, or do you just act like is training camp basically all year round for you?
So basically, I still train all the time anyway, but obviously, just like when it comes to like maybe like 8, 9, 10 weeks before the fight, it depends on when you get your fight matched up. Because sometimes you'll get a fight and it'll only be like 2 weeks or something. You know what I mean, jump on like a little bit of a last minute thing. So I always like to stay ready anyway, because I think the good opportunities they always present themselves at like short notice kind of fights. But well, I've had plenty of time with this one to keep preparing for it. So yeah, I've been training for a long time with my fight camp, but like I say, I stay ready all the time anyway, and then just I'll up the pace a little bit, just like maybe 8 weeks beforehand. To be honest, I was supposed to fight on the BMF show a few weeks back
Okay.
against Joe Fields. So, but he got like injured and pulled out of that. So I was in the camp up until that. Then that fight got pulled out, and then this fight got matched anyway. So I was like, I had a training camp, didn't fight on that show. Then I've just jumped straight into this training camp to get this one done with. So I'm looking forward to getting this fight done with and then having a little bit of a rest over Christmas, to be honest.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. No, it's the season now, right? You want to kick off December in the right way, to be fair.
Yeah,
But
definitely,
yeah,
mate.
man, seeing as BMF wasn't that long ago, so I guess you were still ready and in shape, even coming into Cage Steel, even preparing for Cage Steel, right?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, because like say I was supposed to fight Joe Fields on BMF, and I knew that would have been like a tough challenge. I think he's ranked like number 10 in
Yeah,
like UK amateur division for bantamweight. So I knew that was going to be a tough fight, but I really wanted that fight to happen. But unfortunately, like he got injured. That never happened. And then this other fight got matched up pretty much straight after that. So yeah, I just stayed in like training camp throughout it. Also, I've had a good time to just keep preparing for this. To be honest, say I feel really good.
no, 100%. And when we talk about training camp and talk about training, Ben, of course, you can attest to this as a striking coach as well as Snake Pit MMA. It is so important to get the small things right. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so would you mate, when you go into training camp, especially building into a fight, what are the main things that you focus on, or do you just think about what you need to focus on at the time, or what's your mentality going into training?
Essentially, mate, it's just like just upping you. I just think like I just up my work rate a little bit more. Like I say, I stay pretty like busy anyway all the time. It's obviously like with me like coaching and dealing with like teaching classes and stuff. I'm always at the gym anyway. So even if I'm not training, I'm like around that environment all the time. And then yeah, when I'm like doing my own sessions, I just keep myself like just steady away with stuff. And then when it comes time for a training camp, I'll just up my pace and up my work rate in training. And then what me and my coach do with Jake Bingham, we'll like sit and have a little look at like what my opponent's going to be like. To say obviously like with Ewan in December, I know he's like got a good wrestling background and he's a good wrestler. So just been working a lot of like we'll put this to one side, work a lot on this, and then everything else just getting everything like sharpened, everything right again. So like with this training camp, I've done a lot of like wrestling and jiu-jitsu work. I don't feel like it's going to be much of a striking going on in this fight. I feel like it's going to be more wrestling and a jiu-jitsu based fight. So we've
Okay.
just been doing a lot of work on that, and then with the striking, it's just been keeping everything like sharp with the pad work and stuff like that.
I mean, you came from a striking background, and being the BF double KO champion. Of course, that's your style, right? That's your base, and
Yeah,
the Commonwealth champion there, if I'm not wrong. So when you do things like trying, well round your game into wrestling and jiu-jitsu, is when you first came into MMA and started learning how to well round it out, how difficult was that to really get everything under the ball?
It was very hard, mate, very hard. So say I started doing like kickboxing when I was like 12. I had like a pretty good like junior career. Did like really well, like fighting internationally and stuff like that by the time I was like 16. And then I had like 2 years out when I did like 18. I kind of just got like a bit stale with it. Obviously I was doing it from age like 12 to 18. Got a little bit stale with it and just had a couple of years off doing it all. Just obviously went out like drinking with friends, because before that I would never do anything like that. Now I never went to any parties or anything like that. Like people would say like, "Oh, do you come to this party this weekend?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm training." That's all I would ever do. So I ended up having a couple of years out, and then when I got back into it, like it was kind of like when like people like Conor McGregor kind of come onto the scene and got a bit of hype about MMA going on. I was like, "Oh, I reckon I could have a little blast at that and try doing a bit of MMA." But I kind of just jumped straight into it, mate. I didn't really do like any jiu-jitsu training, any wrestling training. I just jumped straight into a couple of little amateur MMA fights, like, and then yeah, just you soon realise that you can't strike off your back and stuff like that. So I went on a bit of like a long-winded losing streak with the start of my MMA career. But I was fighting like good guys as well. Like I was fighting like Jake Hadley and like Louis Lightning Scott and stuff. So I was like fighting against like good competition, high level competition. But like my jiu-jitsu game was nowhere near like that kind of level. Do you know what I mean? But I was just taking these fights anyway, just because I just like fighting. And obviously, if I'm gonna fight, I want to fight like the best guys, not just like shit houses and stuff like that. So I wanted to be in there with like the best people. But I stopped fighting for maybe like a year or so and just like really focused on my MMA game with like the Snake Pit crew and Jake Bingham and stuff. So and then now obviously I've got back into like competing and that again. So I'm on like a 3-fight win streak, 2 submissions in my last 3 fights. So it's obviously paid off.
Definitely, man. Them 2 submissions have really showed your well-roundedness in the game and in your skill. But if you talk about the names that you fought, and you listed two big ones off, in Jake Hadley and Lewis Scott. How even though some of those fights didn't go your way, how have those really contributed to your development now?
A lot really, because like I say, even though I didn't have like much of a jiu-jitsu game back then, like say like when I fought Jake Hadley, it was probably only like my 3rd MMA fight or something. He'd obviously had like quite an extensive amateur career by then. Really good jiu-jitsu fighter and a good overall MMA fighter anyway. So like it weren't 3 rounds, and then I had like no jiu-jitsu training then, and it just kind of gets you in that mindset of like, well, if I can kind of go 3 rounds anyway with no jiu-jitsu training, then obviously what can I do when I have got that under my belt as well? So I was like, I really just need to like actually get into an MMA gym and actually get some jiu-jitsu and wrestling ground work underneath my belt as well. Because like I say, mate, when I was like doing them fights, I was just training at like boxing gyms and kickboxing gyms. I literally didn't even step foot into like MMA gyms or do like any wrestling, any jiu-jitsu or anything. I was just kind of like just jumping on it just for like a bit of money. People was offering me like 500 quid to come fight Jake Hadley. I was like, all right, mate, yeah, I'll take that. And then yeah, you just get beat up a little bit. It's like, right, I best start to put some work into that wrestling malarkey then.
Well, and you look back now and you see where Jake Hadley is, and you kind of think, oh shit, I fought him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it sort of does give you that boost that throughout your career you ain't been fighting no bum.
No, definitely not.
And you've been fighting top guys. Now on the 3-fight winning streak going into Cage Hill, it's going to be how do you feel fighting for that championship? And because as an amateur, for any amateur, fighting for a championship is just as valuable as fighting professionally.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. See, like fighting for like title belt stuff, it's like nothing new to me. Obviously, I've like a good like professional K1 career behind me, so I've got like a couple of pro K1 titles anyway. So I feel like with like the experience of that underneath me, I don't feel like any like added pressure. Like I'm just trying to look at it as just like it's just another fight. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to get sucked into too much of the old. Oh, it's a big amateur bantamweight title and everything. I'll be really happy when I win, and like it's going to obviously be a big confidence boost for me, because I've said for ages, like since I've been training with the Snake Pit lads, like saying to them all that like I just want like an MMA title now. I've got like 2 pro K1 titles. I just want that MMA title to add to my collection as well. And then maybe in the future I can look at like going pro then and stuff like that.
100%. And do you think as an amateur, is there a right time to go professional in your mind, or do you think it just depends on the fighter himself, what's going through their head at the time?
I'm not really sure. Like, I think for me personally, obviously, I do want to go pro, but I'm not like I haven't got like these things in my head where like, oh, I'm going to make it to the UFC or like I have to become this big time thing. Like, I'd be happy just like getting on like some like national shows, like Cage Warriors and Bellator and stuff like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think like this is a big thing with it. I think we have like a lot of fighters who come through the gym and stuff, and they think that like, oh, you have to make it to pro level, and you have to get to like the top companies that are doing these shows and stuff like that. And like, you don't like if people want to come in the gym and just become like an amateur fighter and just get a few amateur fights under the belt and maybe become like an amateur champion, like that's fine. Like, who's to say that you can't do stuff like that? Do you know what I mean?
Of course, and when you talk about, especially here in the UK, just getting on a Cage Warriors card is good enough.
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause at the end of the day, you're still going to be exposed to the UFC fans as well. So
yeah.
it's a win-win. You know what I mean, mate? And would that be your overall goal? Win a championship, go pro, build up the streak, and then hopefully get on a Cage Warriors card.
Yeah, maybe. Like, to be honest, I don't really think like long term with it. Like, I just do this because I enjoy doing it. It's like gives me something to do. I've got like 3 kids at home, like do a bit of work and stuff. So it's just something else for me to be doing just to keep myself busy. And do you know what I mean? Like, for me, I'd rather be competing in like this sport than like going and playing football or maybe going to the pub with my friends and having a drink and stuff like that. So like, yeah, it's just something that I like. I enjoy doing it, and I just want to keep myself going. I'm going to take it as far as I can take it, but if I, you know what I mean, I ain't got like this thing in mid where like, oh, if I need to get to these kind of levels, because then if I don't, I'm going to be disappointed with myself and stuff like that. So I'm not really, do you know what I mean? I'm not really bothered like where it ends up, and I don't really think of like that long term goal of like, oh, I have to get to here, or this is where I want to be by the time I'm like 40 or something like that. Like, I just think whatever happens with it happens, and wherever I get to, I get to. Like, I'm going to push myself, and I'm going to keep trying to like take myself to that next level, but we'll just see, mate. Like say, I haven't got anything in my head of like this is where I want to be at, and this is what I have to be by the time I'm 35 or 40 and stuff like that. Because I just think sometimes it's too much. You can put too much pressure on yourself, can't you, to become like keep pushing yourself to that next level. And I just look back over the past couple of years, like where I was 2 years ago with my MMA compared to like now. Like I've already improved massively, so I'm happy. I'm happy just making like these little day by day improvements and just keep every year like getting that bit better and stuff like that.
And I think that's brilliant, to be fair, because you see these guys now, and like you said before, you see some of these guys coming to the gym and they think there's a be all and end all of it.
Yeah,
But you know, you're right. I think that's come from your experience, to be fair, Ben, because
yeah.
you
Thank you, man.
got that mindset of, bro, this is not, I'm not looking to 10, 15 years from now because I don't know where I'm gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But when you look at the amateur stuff at the moment, right, and a lot of it teaches you a lot of values as well coming into professional. Even if you don't go professional, you still have that experience. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So what would you say some of the main aspects are that amateur MMA has taught you over the years?
Essentially, mate, just to keep working hard with stuff because I think like with the amateur scene compared to the pro scene, like I think the way people train for amateur stuff is the same as like what the pros are doing nowadays as well. Like you see some amateurs out there and they're like the killers. Do you know what I mean? So you get like you don't have to like you can do it as like a hobby kind of thing, and you can get some like small time fights on like small shows and stuff, and be like find yourself like a nice little level. It's like I say, like people think that they have to become like an amateur champion or like go pro and stuff all the time. You don't have to do that, and then but if you do want to go far with it, do you know what I mean? Like even just fighting in the amateur leagues, like you're gonna find some hard fights out there, aren't you? So I think it gets you in the right frame of mind, ready for the pros, like been doing because in the UK amateur scene, like everyone trains as like the pros anyway, so it just gets you in that right frame of mind. And I think the only difference is like longer rounds and just you know what I mean, you can start adding elbows and stuff like that in as well, really. But people train for the amateurs like they are pros now anyway, so
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. I mean, like you said, even if you don't go pro, you still got that amateur career to look back on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
There's a lot of look at the guy from the IMAX, Mukayev, who from Manchester, who got signed to the UFC. And to be
yeah,
fair, he really had an amateur career, 23 fights. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of upside to being just an amateur fighter.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so Ben, if we look outside the ring and you look in the gym, how important is it to have a good atmosphere at the gym? Snake Pit MMA. I know you train with a lot of guys who do compete on cage steel and almighty and things like that too. But how important is it to have that atmosphere at the gym where you have those partners to learn from and who you can pass things on to as well?
I think it's very important, mate, because if you have like a bad vibe in the gym, I think it can just like ruin your mood and stuff like that as well. Like if I go like training at the gym, like I want to be in like I have to be in like a bit of a good mood and stuff. And obviously, if I'm in like a bad mood, I'll still get my training done and stuff like that. But so for me, going to my gym at the Snake Pit MMA, that like it puts me in a good mood. Do you know what I mean? Like when I'm there and I'm with all my mates and like we're like a little, almost like a family kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like we all help each other out and stuff like that. And I think if you ain't got that, like then it's not really a team, is it? Do you know what I mean? You've got to be a team together and help build each other up. So I just think like if you go into the gym and like it's just full of like gym bullies, people who like they secretly hate you and they don't want to see you succeed and stuff like that, you need to find another gym. Do you know what I mean? You want to be in a gym full of like other people who like you can have a laugh with, but at the same time, like when it comes to obviously doing like serious training, you get the training in, you get the hard work done, and then afterwards you can help each other out, compliment each other, or tell each other if there's like what's the right word, like constructive criticism as well. If there's something that you feel like, oh, that guy maybe needs to work on that a little bit, I'll just give him that advice to help him out with that. And I feel like we've definitely got that at our gym. Like in the past, like I've been to some gyms where I haven't had that, or like even just like doing my own training. Like I've been at, like fighting before, and I've not even really been at gyms. I'm just like on my own, like eating bags and doing my own work and stuff. And it's not the same. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be around that environment and that atmosphere. And obviously, like I say, since I have been at the Snake Pit MMA, I'm on like a 3-fight win streak with some like against some good guys as well. So it just shows that like how much of a difference that has made out of me for being a fighter compared to when I wanted good gyms or like not training with like a proper MMA gym behind me. Do you know what I mean?
100%. So it's really grown you as a person and as a fighter too. And
Yeah, definitely. Mate, yeah.
I guess I was going to ask you as well, but I think you already answered it for me. Is how long how long have you been at the Snake Pit now, and how do you think now the Snake Pit is the are you going to stay at the Snake Pit for the rest of your career now?
Yeah, definitely. Like Snake Pit for life now, mate. I've got a real good team there. Even just like outside the gym, like the guys who I work with in the gym, even outside the gym, like they help me so much in like my just like day-to-day life and stuff like that, like and mentality wise and stuff. So I couldn't imagine myself being at any other place now. Do you know what I mean? Like we have a really good team, and it's like it almost like I say, it's almost like families kind of stuff. So if I have any even like if I have any problems to do with like my training camps, training, I can go speak to like my head coaches and people who I train there with, and they'll help me with that. And then the same, if I have like any issues outside the gym that I'm dealing with, like I can go speak to people at my gym, and they're there to support me and they're there to help me. So it's not just for like my fighting side of stuff, like even just like day-to-day life, like I've got support there from them guys at that gym.
100%. And of course, now being a striking coach at the gym as well. When we talk about coaching, and if you pull yourself out of the out of your own training, and you coach others, what's your style and what's your approach to teaching a class or teaching students? Do you teach everyone the same way, or is it do you sort of teach people differently?
So I keep like almost like a structure to certain classes, but I think there's some things that you might change for different people because everybody's got like different styles of like fighting and stuff like that. So like I'll keep like a general structure of a class. Like I like to teach a lot of like Thai boxing techniques and stuff like that. So I'll keep like a general structure of like a Thai boxing class, but then maybe just like tweak little things for certain fighters. So especially like and then if you've got someone who's like maybe competing themselves in a few weeks or something, maybe like pull them to one side and just give them like extra bits of like more private work and stuff like that, just to help them like just get that extra work in really. Because I think sometimes if you're a coach, you can deal with a class full of like 20, 30 people, and you don't really get much like one-to-one time with each individual. Do you know what I mean? So you're trying to like help everybody out as much as you can because you want to be fair and give everybody the same amount of like time. But like I say, if I have like one specific guy who's like he's got like an interclub or a fight coming up in the next couple of weeks, then I'll just maybe give him like just a little bit more attention than what I would do some of the others, just to help him like build him up a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
No, 100%. And when you're teaching, when you're teaching a class for striking, it is different. Like you say, everyone's got their own shape, their own style, their own abilities, disadvantages, advantages. So yeah, man, I guess if someone's got a fight coming up, they need that extra help, extra attention, right?
Yeah, definitely, mate.
So how did you get into becoming a striking coach at Snape Event? Was it something that happened gradually, or were you handpicked?
So well, essentially, mate, my obviously like I've grown up doing like kickboxing and stuff, and I've become like a black belt in kickboxing. So my dad, he actually rented out like because where the Snake Pit's based, that's in Scunthorpe, and I live in a little village just outside of Scunthorpe. So my dad like rented out like a little village hall and bought like a load of mats and stuff like that, and then just basically give me something just to start like earning myself a little bit of money for. Do you know what I mean? So I started like just teaching like small time like little village hall classes out in Winston, and then I think just like well, it was one of my friends. Obviously, when the Snake Pit line like become a gym then, and then one of my friends took me to the Snake Pit gym and he introduced me to the head coach there, Jake Bingham. So like we just had like a little chat. We got on really well and stuff, and then obviously he knew that I was like teaching kickboxing and Thai boxing classes out in the village. So he just offered me like a chance. Just said, "Do you want to come, teach a few classes with us, maybe like once a week or something like that?" And so obviously, yeah, I jumped to the chance, like got involved with the team, started just teaching like one class a week, and then it just kind of built up from there. And then like just give me more opportunities, give me more classes to teach, and so yeah, like now I teach like 3-4 classes a week there, and it gives me like the room to do like my own private sessions where I can like make some good money for myself and stuff like that. So yeah, it just kind of like snowball. It was like a snowball effect thing. I just met him. He knew that I was teaching some classes anyway, and then yeah, just give me the opportunity. And obviously, I must have done something right to impress him because now I'm there all the time. So
100%, man. No, you definitely did something right, Ben, and you're doing it all right in your career right now, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
It's a drive for 4 wins in a row coming in 2 weeks, man. And
yeah.
I'll be there. I'll be there live and direct as well. So hopefully I see you in person. But yeah, man, I wish you all the best of luck. And thank you, mate, for coming on the show. I respect you taking the time out.
No, a pleasure, mate. Thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate it, mate.
Thank you, Ben, and have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of training camp, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, man.
Thank you, man. See you later on, buddy.
Thank you, bro.